You know how sometimes you read a poem and it just hits you? There's this powerful feeling, but you can't quite put your finger on why. Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to figure out how just a few short lines of text can pack such an incredible punch. Oh, Jerusalem, the city of sorrow. Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. That one line. It's not just describing a place, is it? It's painting a picture of an emotional state. It feels like a lament right from the very first word. And then the poem gives us this image, a big tear wandering in the eye. You see, these opening lines from the poet Nizar Qabbani, they're not just telling us about Jerusalem, they're making us feel it. They give the city a human quality, and we get this profound, immediate sense of pain and helplessness. It's almost like the city itself is wounded and weeping. So, this all leads to the big question, right? How in the world does a short poem like this create such a massive emotional impact with so few words? It's kind of like a literary mystery, and you know what? We're going to solve it together. Now, to figure this out, we're not just going to wing it. We're going to use a really cool framework developed by the brilliant literary critic I.A. Richards. See, he had this idea that language, especially in poetry, is working on all these different levels at the same time. They all weave together to create that final effect. So Richards gave us this amazing toolkit with 4 key ideas: sense, feeling, tone, and intention. Think of it this way. Imagine someone says, "It's a bit chilly in here." Okay, the sense is simple. It's about the temperature. The feeling, well, they're probably uncomfortable. The tone might be a polite request. And the intention, they want you to close the window. See? We're going to use this exact same toolkit to see how all these layers work together in our poem. All right, we've got our toolkit. Let's get back to Qabbani's poem. We're going to apply these 4 lenses one by one and really break down how it builds up such a powerful effect. Okay, first up, sense. Now, this is the most straightforward part. It's the literal meaning, the conceptual stuff. What are the words on the page actually saying? What are the plain facts? Well, the poem asks these really urgent questions, right? Things like, who will halt the aggression? Who will wash your bloody walls? And who will safeguard the Bible? Who will rescue the Quran? So the literal sense here is this despairing list of all the violence happening in a sacred city. It's questioning humanity's failure to protect its most holy symbols. Okay, tool number 2, feeling. Now, if sense is what the poem is about, feeling is the emotional punch behind those words. It's not just a dry description of violence. It's about how the poet feels about it and, crucially, how he wants us to feel. Let's look at those phrases again. The city of sorrow, a big tear. These aren't logical arguments, are they? No way. They are pure emotion. Grief, anguish, a deep sense of helplessness. The feeling is raw and wounded, and it's designed to pull us, the reader, right into that same state of mourning. All right, our third tool is tone. This one's a little more subtle, but absolutely crucial. It's all about the speaker's attitude, not just towards the city, but towards us, the audience. The poet has built up all this sorrow. So what does he do with it? How is he talking to us? Is it a whisper? Is it a lecture? A plea? The tone is really shaped by that relentless repetition. Who will? Who will? This isn't just a simple question. Think about it. It's a lament. It's an accusation. It's this pleading cry for help. And by using that tone, the poet isn't just being sad. He's confronting us. He's basically holding humanity morally responsible. And it makes you feel both uncomfortable and really, really involved. And that leads us perfectly to our final tool, intention. This is the poet's ultimate goal. It's the so what of the poem. Beyond the words, the feelings, and that accusatory tone, what is this poem trying to do to us? What does the poet want us to walk away thinking or feeling? And here's the kicker. The intention isn't to give us any easy answers. The whole combination of sense, feeling, and tone is designed to do something to us. It's meant to shake us up, to disturb our moral comfort. The goal is to shift that responsibility right onto our shoulders, forcing us to reflect on human cruelty itself. The poem wants to awaken our conscience, not just fill our heads with facts. So why go through all this trouble with this 4-part framework? Well, it's incredibly useful because by forcing us to look at sense, feeling, tone, and intention, it helps us avoid some really common traps when we read. Without a system like this, it's so easy to get locked into just one way of looking at a poem and totally miss the bigger picture. For example, we might just read it carelessly, right? Just go with our first gut reaction and miss all the nuance. Or we could do the complete opposite and read it way too literally, like it's a news report, and miss all the feeling. Another trap is relying too much on outside historical facts, trying to force a meaning onto the poem that isn't there. And finally, and this is a big one, we might just forget that poetry uses language in a totally different way than everyday prose. And this slide illustrates that last point perfectly. Think about it. When a poem calls Jerusalem the city of sorrow, it's not a factual geographic description you'd find in an encyclopedia, right? It's a metaphor. It's an emotional image. And if you expect that kind of literal, scientific precision from poetic language, well, you're pretty much guaranteed to miss the point entirely. Okay, let's bring all this together now. This is where everything, the literal questions, that profound sorrow, the confrontational tone, and the poem's ultimate intention all come together for one final powerful moment. So after asking who's going to save the sacred texts and the holy figures, the poem does something amazing. It makes this dramatic shift. It zooms out, way out, from the specific tragedy of this one city to a universal question about the fate of every single one of us. And then we get the final, absolutely devastating line: who will save man? The poem just leaves us hanging with this haunting, unanswered question. It suggests that the real tragedy isn't about any one specific conflict. It's about human cruelty itself. And now, the intention is crystal clear, isn't it? The responsibility is turned right back on us. The poem doesn't end with an answer. It ends with a challenge, one that echoes in your mind long after you've finished reading.